Welcome everybody to my latest video. So for this video, I thought I'd show you guys how to remove and install T-molding for your arcade cabinet. Now, one of the reasons why I'm making this video is because, well, first, I'm actually gonna do this process for a project that I'm working on. And you may have seen my previous video. The project is right there. You might not be able to make it out too well, but it's a Capcom Big Blue cabinet. So I'm going to be replacing the T-molding on that. But the reason why I'm actually making a video is because I had, probably over the last month or so, two people message me and inquire about how to remove T-molding and how to install it. And I told them, it wasn't a big strenuous process at all. But it gives me something to do, so I'm going to make the video. Now the first thing is, here as you can see, I got 3 different colors of T-molding. They come in a variety of colors: orange, black, green, blue, red, chrome, white, tan, and I'm sure there's a limit to what color you can get. It's mostly just basic colors, but anyways, you do have a pretty big variety, at least for your cabinet. Now, here's one thing. Usually the way it works is the more T-molding you buy, the cheaper you can purchase it by the foot. Most places will sell it only in 20-foot rolls, and it will come in something like this, just rolled up. Usually it's a 20-foot minimum purchase, and then after that, some places will sell you additional T-molding by the foot, or every 5 feet, every 10 feet. And again, usually the more you purchase, the cheaper you can get it. You will pay between, I'd say, 25 cents a foot to up to $2 a foot, up to the first 20 feet. And what do I mean by that? Well, basically shop around. Because if you just go and type T-molding in your search browser and you go with one of the first things that comes up, you're going to be paying about $2 a foot. And it's not even for arcade stuff. There is T-molding for counters, countertops, I guess maybe even certain appliances. But it's just weird how many applications for T-molding. So, when you're searching around, look for T-molding arcade. I personally like to get my T-molding from twistedquarter.com. I think they have a pretty good price. And I think, I don't know, what was it, $15 for 20 feet? Maybe, no. I think it was like $7 for the first 20 feet. So if you break that down, it's pretty cheap by the foot. So anyways, you got 3 different colors here. Now, T-molding, if you can just focus in right there, you can see that's pretty much all it is. And you can see it's got like an arch, and it's got this leg, if you want to call it, with these grooves. So this is what T-molding looks like. There you go, that should focus in. This is what T-molding looks like, on its side. Now the reason for T-molding is it basically gives your arcade cabinet a smooth look. Because without the T-molding, you're just going to get like the flatness of the board. So with T-molding, you got a nice curvature going on, and it adds a nice smooth look. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how to remove T-molding. Okay, so here we are next to my cabinet. And for the most part, T-molding is going to be on the outside of the cabinet, on the edges. You can see it goes all the way through here. And in some cases, T-molding will also be on your control panel. And if you can focus in, we got T-molding all around here on the top. We got it on the bottom, wrapping all the way around. Here's another angle. You see we got T-molding down here. So there's quite a few places where T-molding is applied on your arcade cabinet. Now you may be asking how much T-molding you need for your arcade. Well, depending on the cabinet will depend on how much you need. And just to be safe, always order at least, an extra few feet. So if you think you need 20 feet, order 22 feet or 25 feet. The reason is because maybe the ends aren't good, or maybe you mess up on some place, so having a few extra feet helps out. And of course, how do you know? Well, just get a tape measure and quickly measure, wherever the T-molding is going. Doesn't have to be perfect. And once you get your measurement, round it up and add a few extra feet. Now, how do you get T-molding off? Well, first of all, usually the T-molding will start and stop either somewhere on the back of the cabinet or down below. The reason for that is if it started and stopped in the front of the cabinet where it's visible, it looks kind of ugly. So, you put it in the back where no one can see it. Back in the days, these were placed against the wall. No one would really ever see the back of the cabinet, and no one's going to look below the cabinet. So, you just look. In this particular cabinet, I cannot find where it stops and starts. So, they either hit it really well, or maybe it's just really, really tucked tight under the bottom. Either way, not a big deal. And I'll show you what I do, and you'll need an X-Acto knife or some type of a sharp object. Okay, so if you can't find where your T-molding starts and stops, basically just go to the back here, and this is what I do. Just go to the back, pick some place, get yourself an X-Acto knife or some other type of knife, and you can just lightly cut away at the T-molding. It's not gonna, damage your cabinet. Nothing bad's really gonna happen. The only thing is you want to be real careful that if you do proceed with this process, you don't cut so hard as to then dig into the wall of the cabinet. Now, if you do, it's not the end of the world, because once again, you're on the back. So just so I can do this accurately, I'll stop right here, cut away, and then we'll start up the camera again. Okay, here we are. And what I did is, basically starting from the other side, I just made a nice cut through the T-molding on both sides, lifted it up, and then I cut this part right here. Where is it? Right there. Just made a nice little slit, and then what happens next is you just pull the T-molding straight out. Let me go ahead and put away my knife here so I don't stab myself. But here's the T-molding, and the way you take it off is you just pull on up, and that's it. Comes off nice and easy. Now here's one thing. Some of the older cabinets, like, you might have a Miss Pac-Man, a Galaga. From my experience, when those came from the factory, where the T-molding stopped and started, they would put glue or staples. So be prepared for that. However, for the most part, you're not going to have to deal with glue or staples. There's just absolutely no need, and I've come across dozens and dozens and dozens of cabinets through this hobby that I have in my collection. I've sold, I've refurbished, and with the exception of a Pac-Man and a Miss Pac-Man, I've never had to deal with glue or staples. So again, once you make your cut, just pull up and it'll come out nice and easy. And there you go. Now, of course, when you have a cabinet with a control panel like this, you'll have to open up the control panel to get the rest of it, and so forth. Let's go take a look at my Aliens cabinet. Get around my workout stuff here. This one, I really didn't have to mess with the control panel because the T-molding was only on the edges of the side. That didn't sound right. Anyways, you get the point. This one, I do have more places with T-molding, so I have to take care of that. But basically, there you go. Now, once you get all your T-molding removed, you can see right here, here's the groove that you're going to find. You don't want to automatically start putting in new T-molding. You'll want to clean it up. You want to make sure, maybe even take a vacuum or a shop vac and vacuum all the way around your T-molding edge. The reason is you want to make sure there's nothing stuck inside the grooves, because if there is, your T-molding is not going to sit properly. So, remove all your T-molding, take a vacuum, take a shop vac. If you don't have those, then at the very least just dust it off. You want to make sure it's nice and clean. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we'll start with the next segment. Okay, here we are. I got the T-molding lined up. And one thing I would recommend is to buy a rubber mallet. If you don't have one, or if all you have is a regular hammer, then take your hammer, wrap a towel around it, and you can use, that. You don't want to use a normal hard-faced hammer or mallet, because if you do, when you tap this in, it's going to leave dent marks in the T-molding, and that's just not going to look good. But with a regular rubber mallet, you just tap it in. Now, if you just use your fingers or your hands to push it in, it's not going to go in deep all the way. And you can see that the groove that's on your cabinet, well, that's where, let's see if we can focus in. That's where this leg goes in. We'll get a better angle over here. There we go. You can see how the T-molding just goes in right there in the slot, and then you push it down. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, I got the right size T-molding, and speaking of size, how do you know which size you need? Well, just take a tape measure and measure the outside diameter. Or, it'll tell you what you need, whether it's a 1 inch, 3/4. There's some other sizes I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah. Anyways, you might be asking yourself, well, I got the right size, I'm putting the T-molding in the slot, and it's just popping up. It's not sticking. Well, if that happens, then what you do is take some masking tape. I don't have any on me right now, but you'll take some masking tape and just put it on this leg right here. Let me get a small piece and I'll show you. Okay, so what you want to do is, if the slot is too big and your T-molding is popping out, just get your T-molding, and I found masking tape works best. You might try electrical tape, and what you'll want to do is place it right on that leg down there and just lightly press it in. And what that does, let's see if it'll focus in, but basically what it does is it widens the leg, and it makes it more adaptable to the slot that's wider than it should be. Now, if one slit of masking tape or electrical tape doesn't work and it's still popping out, go ahead and put another. I've had that problem before, and basically all you're doing is just making the leg right there wider so it will stick in. And then I guess if all else fails, you can use glue or staples, but I highly would go against doing that. Besides, what if down the road you want to change the T-molding again? So that's all you have to do. Now back to installation. Okay, now when you come to a curved area on your cabinet, you can't just, install a T-molding over it like you would a flat surface. Because if you do, you can see the T-molding starts to bend and it almost starts to buckle. And what's going to happen is it's going to pop out. So what you have to do is make some slits right here. Now, as you can see, I didn't cut away too much. I just basically made a V cutout. And when you go over, it depends on how much of a radius you got going on here. And that'll depend on how many cuts you have to make. I might actually make just another small one right over here. But that will allow me to install the T-molding, and it will actually stick to the curve. Now I got the T-molding installed fully on the back, all the way on the top, over both curves, and I'm starting on the front. Now one thing you want to make sure is, of course, and this goes with Okay, I got the T-molding installed all the way on the back, on the top, over both curves, and I'm starting on the front. Now, what I'm about to tell you goes back to the shop vacuuming of your cabinet. If you have even just a little piece of wood, or maybe even a piece of the T-molding that you cut off so that you can install properly on these curves right here, if any of that is stuck on the top and you pound the T-molding in, it's going to leave a little bump, and it's actually going to be visible. I got one right here. I could feel it. Think of it almost like a pimple, I guess. You can feel this bump right here, and that's because, I guess, the little piece of T-molding that I cut away from here fell, and it got caught between the new T-molding and the cabinet. Now, because it's on the back and no one's going to see, I really don't care. I'm just going to leave it. But from the front, you got to be even more careful. And if it was on the front, then I would take it off and remove it. So, we're going down here, and you can see we got another curve, but this time it's curving towards the inside. Now, when that happens, all you do is you can see right there, just put a slit, and that's it. You don't need to cut away anything. Just a simple slit will do. Because, again, if you didn't cut away, you try to install this, it's going to pop out. But the slit actually allows the T-molding to stay in there, and there's less pressure for it to pop out. So there we go. And I'm going to install all the way down here. Make a few cuts right here for this curve, down here, and the whole shebang. But there we go. So I'll complete this side, I'll do the other side, and then I'll do my control panel, which is over there, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, here we are, and you can see I got the T-molding all done. I decided to go with black on the edges and orange for the control panel. You can also see I've done a little bit more work on the control panel itself. That'll get talked about in another video. But yeah, there we are. So T-molding is not really that difficult to install. So, until next time.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.